So when was the first time someone noticed, or that you noticed, that that was not the way things were supposed to be?
Yeah, so this is such an important question because my experience when we talk about stigma is that the stigma is if you're depressed or if you're struggling with another mental illness, it's a personal weakness, or you're afraid to, only unstable people are in psychiatric care. For me, the stigma was just silence. If you experience depression, one of the things Styron says, I think this might be in the book and not the article, but he describes it as suffocating. And I would describe it as all-encompassing. Like, it's just your reality. So I went to, the first time I went to a doctor about depression, I was 30. What happened was I went to my primary care doctor, who was very good, and I raised the issue with him, and he said, "I'm glad you're here because it doesn't have to be this way." And I remember that simple statement being a wake-up, like, really? I just thought this was how it, I just thought this is how it was. It was not until I was 30 that it occurred to me that, it didn't occur to me. Somebody told me, this is actually not how life has to be. I went to a big state school. I would say I kind of crashed and burned in college in terms of like what I would call debilitating, really debilitated depression. And it was a big state school, University of Texas, 50,000 students, whatever it was. Nobody noticed. It wasn't anybody's job to notice. It's not like somebody did something wrong, but the inability to get out of bed it really is gravitational. When I describe the gravitational pull, that is a physical symptom in a lot of ways. And there are ways in which you're thinking, like brain fog is a real is a real thing. Shame on my generation for what we've turned education into for your generation. I will tell you about I occasionally do listening sessions at the residence halls, as you probably know, and I was in one a couple years ago. Students were describing feeling stressed. And I was saying to myself, first of all, as you've heard, I was a lousy undergraduate, but I don't remember feeling stress. I mean, there'd be a paper, an exam, but I don't remember day-to-day anxiety. And I started probing with them, like, about what? And what I observed, and you would know better than I would if this is accurate, is that there is a constant chain of preparation for the next thing, but nobody knows what's at the end of the chain. If I don't get an A on this test, I won't meet the prerequisite for that class. If I don't get into that class, I won't get a letter of recommendation for this grad school. If I don't get into, and the fact is, these 4 years are such a gift that some of you are giving to yourselves, some of you are giving to yourselves with help from family and so forth, to enjoy exactly what you're saying, the beauty of literature, of art, of ideas, of discovery, and we've turned it into a manufacturing system, and it's shame on us. I'd say that conversations like this are important in the sense that, in my experience, stigma comes from silence. Like, you just don't know that you don't have to be this way. So if you're like talking to one another openly, and is so important, but it's about noticing one another and seeing one another as persons with, and I think this is again the critical point, complexities that none of us have any way of knowing. So trying to put yourself, this goes back to the point of empathy, it's a very hard thing to do, to put yourself, and it's a presumptuous thing to do if you overdo it, to put yourself in the shoes of another person. Talk to each other. If you're experiencing depression or any other sort of psychiatric symptom, or you know people who are, and one of those two things is definitely the case, talk about it the same way you'd talk about, hey, you look like you have a fever, or are you feeling okay? Because it's not any different. And the more we're talking to each other, at least reflecting on my experience, the more that stigma lifts.